This is the new Honda Pilot, the 4th generation. I'm driving the Trailsport model. Is it more than just badges and cladding? Let's find out. America's love of SUVs is a long and winding back road, but the mainstream tipping point is largely considered to be Ford's Explorer back in 1990. A huge hit based on the Ranger pickup architecture, automakers rushed to develop competitors. Honda does not make body-on-frame vehicles, so Pilot has always been unibody. Truck bros are quick to diss this and might see the Trailsport model as a poser. The 4th generation Pilot is built on Honda's new light truck architecture. It remains unibody, just like Land Rover, Range Rover, and Defender, SUVs that have no problems when the going gets rough. Pilot is a 3-row family hauler. Go with the Passport if all you need are 2. Trailsport retails for about $50,000, and yes, that does include shipping. If you want one of these, Honda makes it easy. There really aren't any option packages. You just choose your paint color. This is diffused sky, an extra $455. The outgoing Trailsport was really just a trim package. This one adds some off-road chops. It starts with off-road oriented suspension and tires. Those are mounted to 18-inch alloy wheels embossed with the logo. The front stabilizer bar is a smidge softer. Ground clearance is up by an inch to 8.3. Significant protection keeps the expensive parts from being pranged. The standard trailer hitch receiver is reinforced to double as a recovery point. And then there's the rear differential with unique trail torque logic specifically tuned to handle tough off-road conditions. Compared to standard Pilots, there are some cosmetic differences, but it's not as if Trailsport dresses like a lumberjack. Looking at you, Subaru Wilderness models. I drove Trailsport at the 2023 Mudfest SUV of the Year competition. Honda's Jake Berg rode shotgun as we bombed around the course.
Well as a special wheel design with inset spokes, so you're less likely to scratch your wheel on a rock.
Most of the competitors stuck to the standard course, and really, most owners would never try to tackle that kind of terrain. But there was also the severe course for the more capable vehicles.
And we can actually go on this if you want to.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey,
little incline here.
I'll estimate the grade at 30 degrees. More challenging is the slop.
This is kind of loose and mucky.
Here's a Wrangler on the section for reference.
Keep steady throttle all the way on the way up, and the IVTM4 system will figure out where to send the power.
Okay, and drive mode?
We're already in trail mode, so
Okay.
that'll give you, it'll be more eager to send torque to the rear wheels and better at distributing that torque between both sides
All right,
as well.
let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Perfect.
that is impressive considering this is a Pilot. I mean, I know it's the Trailsport.
Right.
I know, but it's a Pilot. I think a
Mhm.
lot of people think this is just a soft roader.
Yeah, no, our engineers pulled out all the stops and gave this, everything that you would need to have a successful adventure.
That torque vectoring rear diff is extremely effective.
All of the IVTM4 all-wheel drive systems will distribute torque left to right up to 100% of the available torque at the rear wheels. But of that available torque on the Trailsport, when you're in trail mode, it uses what's called trail torque logic. So it'll send 75% of torque to the tractive tire and maintain 25% torque potential at the non-tractive tire, so that once that non-tractive tire regains grip, you can continue moving up the trail at a steady pace. And up front, it uses brake torque vectoring.
And about those skid plates.
You test drove this during development and had to actually hit things.
Yeah, so our development team went to a lot of different places, including Moab and Sedona and iconic trails, like Fins and Things and Broken Arrow, and basically they wanted to see, what do we have to do to try and break the car?
Yeah.
And The skid plates are strong enough to withstand the entire weight of the vehicle crashing down on a rock with no damage.
So yes, the Trailsport is more than a grocery getter. It legit adds ability and confidence. Unibody construction does not hold it back. Chances are the roads to the kids' daycare are in much better shape than this. If not, talk to your city council. While turbocharged four-cylinders are becoming more popular in machines like this, Honda sticks with its V6. At 3.5 liters, it delivers 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. Trailsport gets a full-size spare. Monitor the power output delivery if you want. For the first time, Pilot shifts gears with a 10-speed transmission. It too remains the same, nothing different with the ratios. Manual shifts are done here. Trailsport has the drive modes found in every all-wheel drive Pilot. The big difference seems to be the Trail Torque Logic rear differential. Trailsport's V6 doesn't get extra power, and the gear ratios on the 10-speed are the same on all Pilots. That means all Pilots will do the 0 to 60 dash in about 7 seconds, so this can get out of its own way. If you're into engine notes, there's a nice subtle V6 growl when you put your foot into the throttle. Certainly better than a turbocharged four-cylinder. All fourth-generation Pilots have bigger brakes, a new belt-driven steering rack, and front strut geometry adds steering feel. In back, an all-new multi-link suspension improves stability. Even with the off-road tuning, this goes down the road in a more confident manner. The suspension is on the softer side. This is set up for comfort, and I haven't driven the regular Pilot, but I have to believe that the Trailsport loses a little bit of on-center precision. It's still very, very good. The same thing happens with the competitors, the Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek and Telluride X-Pro. There's going to be some body roll pitching the Trailsport hard into a corner. The structure of the new light truck architecture feels as solid as the rocks this can climb over. Honda says the fourth generation's chassis rigidity is up significantly from Gen 3. The difference is noticeable. Remember when Honda was known for road noise? Not this one. Pilot is moderately quiet, and I've been listening really intently to the tires because they're off-road oriented. Really, not much hum coming off those things. Honda's ADAS suite of standard active electronic safety tech is dubbed Honda Sensing. In addition to automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection and lane keeping assist, the fourth generation adds traffic jam assist, traffic sign recognition, and low-speed braking control on most models. The 10-speed is terrific, the kind of transmission you don't even notice. Super smooth, always in the right gear. Nicely done, Honda. Pilot's driving position is elevated, what most people want these days, and Trailsport gets an extra inch of altitude. From behind the wheel, it doesn't feel overly large. Visibility is good all the way around, and most Pilots get standard blind spot warning. The EPA rates the efficiency of the Trailsport at 20 miles per gallon, and it uses regular grade fuel. And really that's not much of a penalty because the regular Pilot is rated at 21 mpg. Kia Telluride X-Pro and Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek average about the same, 20 and 21 miles per gallon respectively. Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid returns a lofty 36 mpg. On the other end of the scale is 4Runner at 17. And yes, people will cross-shop this with Trailsport. Trailsport's cabin is trimmed up a bit differently. There's only one colorway, and you better like orange trim. There's shiny black plastic too, which tends to scratch the moment it leaves the dealership. This stuff seems a little bit more rugged. Honda says its seats, with a new internal frame, are more supportive. I like the bolstering, should keep drivers in place during harder maneuvers. These are synthetic leather and heated. The wheel is toasty too. Trailsport and Elite get a more comprehensive camera setup. It's definitely useful when trying to position the vehicle on the trail. Helps in the mall parking lot, too. For cup holder aficionados, Honda engineers have crammed 14 of them into Pilot. And there are the usual places to stow things around the cabin. That will not be a problem. And this little shelf. Sunscreen. It's important. If the kids are acting up, you'll know who started it. Trailsport's standard glass roof lets a lot of light into the cabin. This interface screen is the larger of the two available in Pilot. At 9 inches, it doesn't overwhelm the dashboard, though it does look tacked on. Assignable shortcuts below help with organization. Overall, the layout is rudimentary, nothing to confuse people here. Not a lot of hard buttons. The ones on the left are physical, and there's this. The charge pad works well with my iPhone 13 Pro. Not all of them do, and that's important because wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay tend to suck the life force out of phone batteries. Some Pilots can seat up to 8 with a removable section in the middle of row 2. Trailsport stops at 7. It does what a lot of second rows do. There's as much legroom as you want, especially if you don't care about those in row 3. A great touch, there's soft material in this phone pocket, not that the kids will ever let them out of their hands. A way to charge devices? Check. Same with a separate climate zone. Built-in sunshades are nice. The floor is completely flat. People can scamper between the seats to get to the way back, or push this button. I've seen vehicles that only have that feature on one side. Pilot will load up quick. Trailsport might ride a skosh higher, but small kids shouldn't have much of an issue hiking themselves in.
Space-wise, Pilot's third row is pretty good. I'm 5'9" and I have a lot of headroom. There are belts for 3 back here, but for adults, width-wise, that would be very challenging. I would keep it to small children in that case. I've got row 2 set about midway. Knee and legroom are fine. I can put 1 foot under the chair, the other down the middle. That works for me. 3-row SUVs and crossovers often have very low cushions. Pilot's is okay, even though I don't really have much thigh support. At least my knees aren't up into my chin. As far as amenities go, there are cup holders, vents, USB ports. It's all here. Really, the Pilot's third row is very usable.
The designers of the 4th generation Pilot put some mojo back into the styling. The outgoing model had soft, swept minivan-inspired lines. Not that minivans are inspiring. The hood is longer now, the grille is bolt upright. Give Honda credit for not overdoing the plastic protective pieces. Overall, it's a truckier look that gives off this vibe. The brawny paper towel guy would be proud to own one. It's as if the original Passport and 2nd generation Pilot had offspring. Hopefully, the next generation Passport gets a similar makeover.
Time for my SUV crossover public service announcements. Whenever you have a 3-row rig, there's seldom much cargo room if you have all the seats filled. It's a thing. Maybe invest in a rooftop box if you're always carrying a lot of passengers.
The TP doesn't lie. These packs are just a little larger than a standard carry-on suitcase, so only 4 people can bring luggage to the airport. Yes, 4, because 1 would fit under the floor, and the removable middle seat on other Pilots would stash here. Notice that one side has an easy-to-clean plastic surface. We're talking 18.6 cubic feet, or 21.8 if you remove the floor. Not using the way back? Then there's up to 59 cubes to fill. And if you notice, the load floor is as level as a pool table. You'll be walking around to the back doors to drop the 2nd row, no remote releases. Again, the floor is as flat as Kansas. The TP Trunk Test champs in the 3-row crossover segment are Chevy Traverse and Buick Enclave at 20 packs. Honda is awfully good at carving out space in its vehicles, but will not emerge victorious. While this looks like 16 bundles behind the 2nd row, it's actually 17 if you include one under the load floor. That said, let's sum this up with red light, green light. Green light. The Trailsport does offer up enhanced off-road ability. Even so, the on-road performance and driving dynamics suffer very little. The square-jawed styling is an improvement and definitely works for Trailsport models. Pilot is extremely useful, with good room for passengers and all of the small things they bring with them. Yellow lights? Pilot seats 7 or 8 depending on model. Remember to subtract 1 when hauling adults. The more compliant suspension that improves the off-road experience adds some body roll. While Trailsport comes well equipped, there's really no choice when it comes to adding or subtracting features. Red light. Trailsport is the least efficient Pilot model, and none of them can be had as a hybrid. Only the pop of orange saves the cabin from looking blah. The price point is much higher than an EXL model. Even the fancy Touring is around $2,000 less. I'll assume those have slightly better on-road manners where most miles will be driven and where unibody construction shines. I'm not sure how many families need the off-road capability of Trailsport, but diving into the psychology of family crossover buyers is a topic for another day.
Trailsport does have extra off-road chops, but remains an excellent everyday driver, a really good dynamic. This is much more comfortable to drive on an everyday basis than, say, a Toyota 4Runner. A lot of people are going to buy this just for the looks alone. I get it. Keep in mind that this is around $6,000 more than a Pilot EXL. Only you can tell if it's worth it.
Smart buyers know their needs and will test drive the competitors. The Trailsport model is now more than looks. It's a machine that lives up to its name. Special thanks to fellow automotive journalist Mike Meredith for driving duties this week. If you look closely, you'll see we actually look like brothers. Of course, he might be insulted by that statement.
Hope you got something out of my look at the 2023 Honda Pilot Trailsport. A reminder, if you have a question, leave it in the comments. I'm pretty good about getting back to people, or you can find me on social media. And if you want to support this channel, I'm not going to stop you. You can do it using YouTube Super Thanks or find me on Venmo. I appreciate it. Always looking for gas money. Thanks for watching. That's Driven. I'm Tom Volk.